review process for the DR. You know, my last dual sport was a KLX. It was a modified, had a header pipe and jets and airbox mods. This bike is 100% stock. So first things first, highway use is definitely highway capable. I have a clip that I'll pop in right here that it'll do up to 100 miles an hour on the highway, no problem. I pulled it to 100 and no issue whatsoever. Also, now let's start with that. Here's the highway clip. Next, gas mileage. Nobody cares. Off-road use, awesome. It is definitely a little bit heavy. I'll throw a clip of me trying to climb a hill on it. It was a hill about 30 feet tall. It was pretty much, not straight up and down because that's impossible, but it was very, very vertical. And we'll throw that in. It's a little bit harder. I'm comparing this to my KLX 250S. It definitely, you could feel the weight going up and down the hill more. Now, I haven't been off-roading in about a year because I haven't had a dual sport to ride, but I'm comparing it to the KLXs. That's the closest thing I can compare. I know it's a 650 compared to a light 250, but really, when I added the bike up, when I had the KLX, I think the DR was only 66 pounds heavier, which is a lot off-road. You don't notice it so much on-road, though. And I'll play that clip here. Oh, and I mean, I slipped bad. Oh man. Make a path so I could do it more than frickin' one time. Next, 0 to 60, I think you're probably at about, I don't know, 6 seconds, 5.5 seconds, 6 seconds. I think I have a clip of it. I'll throw it in. I'll throw it in right here. Let's do 0 to 60. Next, jumps in suspension. The suspension is very soft. It's more cushy than the KLX. The KLX definitely had a little bit better suspension. I also count that to the weight of the DR is much, much heavier than the KLX. So you're adding 66 pounds onto an already street kind of suspension. I know it's not 100% street. There's travel here and everything, but I think you get the point. It's not motocross suspension. Right? And if anyone gets onto one of these and thinking it's going to be motocross suspension, you are going to be disappointed. These are not motocross suspension. It's very, very soft, so it's a nice ride on the road. I think it's a very good compromise on the road and in the dirt. I've jumped it. I'll see if I can throw a clip in right here. Or somewhere in the video that shows I do little jumps on it. I get about a foot or two in the air, and you won't bottom it out. You'll be fine. If you're gonna do a motocross track, yeah, you're gonna kill the suspension. It's a dual sport. It's not a motocross bike that drives on the road. This is a heavy 650 that's just not a motocross bike. I hear so many complaints about people who drive DRs, you know, and they're like, oh, my KX 450F, you know, it'll tear this thing. Of course it will. Your KX 450F also can't drive down the highway for an hour without, you know, ripping its guts out. These are detuned 650s. They're not pumping out all the power that engine can put out, because if it did, it would eat itself alive on the road, just roaning down the highway. Your engine would tear into pieces, and there'd be oil, and your piston would come through your gas tank. It just, the engines are, you know, the motocross engines are meant to be very revvy and quick and very powerful. You get every ounce out of power out of those motocross bikes. That's not the case on these. Let's see, what do I got going on here? Wheeling. it'll do wheelies. You can do a wheelie anywhere from first, second, and if you can really bounce and pull that throttle at the same time, it will do a third gear wheelie in stock trim. Fuel tank, that's a big complaint at everybody. I really don't care. I'll go 100 miles, 110 before I hit reserve, fill up at 100 usually is what I do. Same as the KLX, you'd fill up at 100. After I jetted it, I was filling up more like 90 miles, but just what it is. You can get a bigger tank. It's not that expensive. I think you can get one for maybe 200, around 200 bucks. It's 3.5 gallons. It's not that bad. I bet if you really wanted to, you'd do 150 miles, you'd be good. What? Just make stops, fill up. Unless you're really going out into some rugged where there's no gas stations. I think that's about it, except for maintenance. Nothing could be easier than the maintenance on this bike. I did the valve adjustments at 600 miles on this DR, and the exhaust valves were too tight, and I just loosened them. It was so easy. Get the feeler gauges from ProCycle. They're angled so you can get in there to check the valves. You'll be good to go. No issues with maintenance. Change the oil and swap your tires out. That's about it. There's no complications with the maintenance on this bike. It's sort of just, it's a big detuned 650 thumper. It's got some just simple design. These are air and oil cooled. This oil cooler here acts like a radiator and sort of cycles the oil and sprays the oil on the bottom of the piston to keep the engine cool. From what I've heard, it works great, and I don't know too much about the history of it. That they were trying to do that a long time ago on race bikes, back when they were still air-cooled, the long time ago, and I think the design was made for that, and then they just kind of modified it for the DR. I don't know if I have many complaints. I think the biggest complaint I have is first gear. It's really tall. By the time you get your clutch let out, you're at about 15 miles an hour. By the time those clutch plates fully grab and you click your clutch out, you're doing 15 miles an hour. If anyone knows off-road stuff, when you need to hop a log or something, you need to be able to go slow to, bounce and clutch your front end up over a log. That's going to be a little bit more difficult, but not impossible. I've been popping curbs on it with the front wheel all day. You just have to go a little bit faster so you can get power onto that rear wheel to pop it up. That could also be helped with jetting. If you jet and pipe the bike, which I don't know that I'm going to do, I may or may not, the bike runs really good in stock form, in my opinion. Everybody gripes over these things being, suspension, jetting, it being too quiet. Look, it puts out plenty of power. We're on the highway doing 100 miles an hour. Not consistent, but you could thump down the highway 80 miles an hour, no problem. No problem. And if you're going over 80, you're going to start breaking the law anyways. It will go fine down the highway. People complain about these things off-road, like that they've got onto a motocross bike and they're trying to take them off-road. In my opinion, this is the perfect compromise. I know it's old school. I know it's an outdated design, but you know what? It works. The design works, and it is in my opinion, I've been riding dirt bikes my entire life. This is the perfect compromise if you want a dual sport that will go on the highway and be fine on the highway, like take a trip on the highway for 100 miles. This is the compromise that's perfect. It's a perfect balance, in my opinion, between off-road and on-road performance. I just hear so much about people complaining about how they're just not that great off-road. This bike does fine off-road. I tear it up through construction sites. I put that clip in of me climbing the hill, with absolutely almost no running start whatsoever. It was a little bit difficult, but this is a big hog of a 650 going up that. I mean, it does it fine. The bike is fine for off-road. if you're going to do really, really tight trails all the time, go with a 250 or a 400. That's not going to be what this is. It'll do it, but you'd be better off with a dirt bike if you're going to do that, and just have the tag dirt bike, not a dual sport. This is a real dual sport. I think that's all I got to say. I'll probably throw another clip of me doing a wheelie or something on the bike, and hope this answers the questions that I usually look for when buying a new bike. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. I don't have a massive audience. I will probably answer your question if you type it in the comments. And that's it. Thanks for watching.